Good evening, everyone. I'm Matt O'Connor. I'm Dean of the School of Business and Engineering, and it's my honor to kick off tonight's event. I want to welcome everyone here to Quinnipiac University, and all I'm really going to do is a little bit of housekeeping so we can get started with the program. So first of all, for visitors, I want to point out our fire exits. So we have fire exits at the back of the room and on the side of the room. And secondly, at the conclusion of Dr. Yunus's talk this evening, we are going to have a book signing. So the book signing is going to occur to my left and your right. That's all I really want to do tonight is get everybody seated and get the program started. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Dr. Muhammad to come up and make a few brief remarks before Dr. Yunus gets started. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It is my distinct honor to introduce Dr. Muhammad Yunus, one of the leading intellectuals and thinkers of the world who needs no introduction. Dr. Yunus is an economist, author, Fulbright scholar, humanitarian, and one of the originators of microcredit and microfinance. He began his career as an academic. He was a professor of economics at Middle Tennessee State University and later at Chittagong University, Bangladesh. Dr. Yunus founded the Grameen Bank, a community development bank in Bangladesh, which has lifted millions of people out of poverty and presented a new model for providing microcredit to poor and underserved communities and individuals. In 2006, Dr. Yunus and the Grameen Bank received the Nobel Peace Prize for their efforts through microcredit to create economic and social development from below. More recently, Dr. Yunus has been instrumental in advocating for the development of social business, using business organizations to improve social, environmental, and human well-being. Dr. Yunus was conferred a number of other awards, including the Raymond Magsaysay Award, World Food Prize, and Sydney Peace Prize, and he is also the author of the best-selling books, Banker to the Poor, Creating a World Without Poverty, and Social Business and the Future of Capitalism. Recently, he has published Building Social Business, where he encourages the formation of social business. In his home country, Bangladesh, he has received the President's Award, Central Bank Award, and Independence Day Award, the highest national award. And most recently, President Barack Obama decorated him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian award in the USA. Next month, Dr. Yunus will be awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. And most recently, in fact, just about half an hour ago, Dr. Yunus was awarded the Albert Schweitzer Gold Medal for Humanitarian Services. And Dr. Yunus has also agreed to join the honorary board of directors of the Albert Schweitzer Institute. Dr. Yunus is going to share his thoughts with us about microloan and social business and how they can reduce poverty and spur economic development. Please let us welcome Dr. Yunus.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much. Please. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. I had a great day today in this university, Quinnipiac, and a wonderful experience to share thoughts with the students here. And I see how much attention they have given about the work that I do back in Bangladesh and also in other places. And it's a very special honor for me to receive the Albert Schweitzer Award. I have been reading about him for many years. I never thought I will have my path cross with him in any way. I thought this is something happened in Africa, someone dedicated his life and his philosophy of feeling the life forms of all kinds bound together. We admire it. We see the legend as it happened. I didn't even realize that he was functioning, actively working until 1965. I thought it was some way back. So today suddenly it became a reality. Suddenly I came in very close contact with him. Coming here in the memories of this great human being, and a few hours back visiting the museum, seeing his pictures on the walls and memorabilia all around. You come so close to that person. And then about half an hour back, I got the award. So his life kind of overlapped with mine. And thank you for giving me this particular honor. But what impressed me about the life of Albert Schweitzer, he planned such thing. When I was told that he started going to the medical school to become a doctor when he was 30 years old or something like that, when you should be finished with your whole academic life, he decided he wanted to be a doctor to go to Africa. So he planned very well his steps. And that kind of in contrast with me. I don't plan. I just react to the situations. Situation emerges and I jump into it. Few minutes back, I didn't know that I'll do that. And every time I did that, it's almost like an instantaneous response rather than well thought out action plan. People ask me, how long have you been doing research on microcredit and so on? I said, it never existed in my mind. I never thought there will be something called microcredit. That word didn't exist. But circumstances that I was in pushed me into it without knowing what I was doing. I had no idea. And the circumstances was the situation in Bangladesh. I was here in the States teaching in one of the universities, Middle Tennessee State University, and got involved with the Bangladesh Liberation War to protest what Pakistan Army was doing in Bangladesh. We immediately jumped at creating citizens group for Bangladesh. So that became a whole series of actions. Then finally Bangladesh became independent and I resigned from my job. Immediately I said, I'm going back. And I went back. So at that time, euphoria that you got a country of your own, the one, and you want to build it in the images of your dreams so that we won't have the problems that we always had. For the first time we got a chance. So now that we are a free country, independent country, we can build things in our way. So I went back. And as it happens in many occasions of liberation war, freedom fighting. Almost similar thing happened to us. All the beautiful dreams about future, when it is all over, when the independence is achieved, everything will fall in place and everything will be fine and beautiful. But that's not the way history goes. Your dreams turn into nightmares. Suddenly worse of the things start happening. And exactly happened to us. Economy is sliding down very fast. It was a devastated country. But you thought it cannot go any further down. You are shocked to see it's going down further and further every day. And we ended up with a famine. That's not what a young teacher of economics with full of enthusiasm wanted to experience. When you see dying people outside and you're teaching elegant theories of economics in the classroom, telling the students how beautiful those theories are, everything can be solved by applying those theories. And you walk out of the classroom, you saw skeleton-like people about to die. Then you realize all those theories are just fairy tales. It has no meaning in the life of the people. Suddenly, a feeling of emptiness overwhelms you. Worst of all, a feeling of uselessness. You are a useless person. You have nothing to do for the dying people. So you suffer for a while. The arrogance of PhD, arrogance of your knowledge that you thought you acquired, suddenly disappears. And then I thought I'll do something. Forget about economics. Just be a human being, just like any other human being, and go out there, stand next to another human being. See, as a human being, you can make yourself useful to another person. You don't need to learn from a textbooks about it. You don't have to do research about it. It's built inside of you as a human being. And you'll figure it out how to do that. Luckily, the university where I was teaching is located right next to a village. So you don't have to find poor people outside the city limit, outside someplace else, go to a village. No, it's just boundary line of the campus ends and the village begins. So I thought I'll make some effort to go and be with them, see if I can make myself useful to one person, even for one day. And if I could do that, I thought I have done something for myself for the day. I'll feel a little bit easy rather than get overwhelmed by the feeling of uselessness. So that's what I started doing. And over days and weeks, I felt that, okay, now I feel a little better. I can breathe now. And it went on. What happened in the meantime as I go every day, meeting people, talking to people, seeing what I can do for you, for somebody, and I do a little bit of things. I get to know the village. I get to know the people in the village. They know me, I know them. And I see things very clearly. Then it dawned on me, this is not a village. This is my university. This is what I'm learning now. for the first time in my life, seeing real people. I never saw real people. In the classroom, you always have those graphs and things. Here is the labor, here is this, here is that. Where is the people? So I said, these are the people. And I thought, in the university, I learned something. What did I learn? I felt like a bird flying in a very high distance and looked at the planet, looked at the world, looked at the people from that height. And that's what I got, a bird's eye view, looking at things from a distance. And you think you're seeing it and you make you believe that's what the reality is, what you see. For the first time in the village, I realized that I didn't see anything. I just made it up because everything looked so hazy. So it was plenty of scope for someone to make stories out of them, to make beautiful stories out of them. So what I gained in the village, going every day, probably I got another kind of view of the world and the people. That's a worm's eye view, like a little worm. You see very little in front of you, but you see very clearly. You don't see at a distance, but whatever you see in your range is a very clear picture. When you see things very clearly, you don't get scared because you see opportunities. From the distance, you made it a picture which scares you. Problems are so gigantic. You are so small. You feel you have no role in that. But when you see little, you are important. You can do something for this little world. So that's the feeling I started getting. So it's a kind of a now battle between the bird's eye view and the worm's eye view. And the advantage of the worm's eye view, I figured out that when you see an obstacle, when you see a problem, you see a way out. If you have an obstacle, you can turn around and go around and get to the destination. You don't stop because you see everything. That gave me hope that I can find ways. While I'm trying to battle with this process of learning in that village, other things are going on, and one thing kept coming to me, almost a regular feature. Loan sharking in the village. The ugliness of the loan sharking in the village. You are horrified to see it. How people, a human being, can exploit another human being in a very naked way. For tiny little money, they just take control of your whole life and crush you to death. So that ugliness kind of get into my head. And you realize that it's such an intricate problem this is. And this is such a problem, you've been hearing about it all over the world. You feel very small, that problem is so big, you are so small, you can't do a thing about it. Suddenly it came to my mind, problem may be very big, very complex. The solution is so simple. It energized me. I said, I can solve this problem for this village, for these few people here. It's a very simple solution. Anybody could figure that out. Solution is, why don't I lend the money myself? Why do they have to go to the loan shark and make you see all the ugliness of the loan sharking? If I do it, there is no ugly picture. It's a very pleasant picture, and it's in my control. Money involved is so small that I didn't have to think twice. So I said, let me do that. I made a list of people who were borrowing from the loan sharks to see how widespread and who are the people involved on both sides, as a lender, as the borrower. When my list was complete, there were 42 names on my list. Total money they borrowed was $27. So I said, my God, for $27, all these 42 people have to suffer so much. I just took the list and I told them, look, here is the money. Return the money to the people who lent you the money. So you are disconnected, you are delinked from the loan sharks. Now you do business with me. You can pay back wherever you want, but just get disconnected with those people. So they did. It cost me $27. But the response, which I was not expecting anything, I thought, well, this was another good thing I was trying to do. This time it was 42 people. But the response was totally unexpected. Such a sensation went through the whole village. Everybody is looking at me in a very different way. I've been there every day, but nobody paid much attention to me. Now they look at me as if I have done some miracle. I felt awkward, uncomfortable. People are just looking at me like that. Then I started kind of joking at me, kidding at me. Oh, for $27, you became an angel. If you put another $27, maybe you will be super angel. And people started coming to me, I need the money. I said, okay, here it is. The more money I gave, the more people wanted, because they don't want to go to the loan sharks anymore. Who wants it? And I enjoyed it, that people can benefit from such a small action. Then the next thought that came to my mind, if you can make so many people so happy with such a small amount of money, why shouldn't I do more of it? See, I didn't plan anything. I'm just responding. And this thought kind of grabbed me. Why don't I do more of it? So I still have a lot of money in my pocket. I just came from the US, so I earned enough. So I started giving more loans. Then it becoming so big, I thought very soon it will go beyond my capacity. Why don't I link the bank with them? The first time the idea of bank came to my mind, because the bank is located right in the campus. So all I have to do is to connect the bank with the people. I said, this is small money for you, it's just little change, nothing. I told the manager, why didn't you lend money to these people that I'm lending money to? He fell from the sky. He couldn't believe that I even said that. He said, no, bank doesn't lend money to the poor people. So he gave me a big lecture on banking. And the more he tried to convince me, more agitated I became against banking. So finally I started telling him, I said, it's very strange, you created a whole institution to lend money, and you do it in such a funny way. You lend money to people who already have lots of money. The more money they have, the more money you want to give. This is totally illogical. You should be doing the other way. You lend money to people who don't have money. After you have done that, only then you go to the people who have some little money. I laughed at him, he laughed at me. We were in two different worlds. He couldn't understand what I'm saying. I couldn't understand why he's saying that. But I didn't give up. The more he opposed the whole idea of lending money to the poor, the more stubborn I got. Because I thought his logic has no meaning whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense. So I started arguing, not only him, all the higher officials of the banking system, started accusing them, saying that how wrong the whole banking system is. I never stopped saying that. I still say the same thing. But they didn't budge at all. In that big struggle between me and the banks and the high officials, I learned about the way they behave, their rules, their procedures. I used one of them. I said, okay, you don't want to lend money because you don't feel that they will be able to pay back, because they're always arguing that if you give money to the poor people, they will just eat up the money. They're hungry people. The money you give, they'll buy something and eat it. And they can't pay back because they have nothing. So why give the money to them? Then I said, okay, I don't believe what you're saying, but let's make a deal. I become the guarantor of all the loans that you give. I'll sign every piece of paper you give me, and I become guarantor, and you give the loan. If they don't pay back, I pay back. So I stand as a guarantor. This time I use their language, so they couldn't really throw me through the window. They could if they wanted to, because I'm making such strong allegations against them. They thought it was unnecessarily complicate their life. So they agreed. I think they agreed for one reason. Just to get my mouth shut, so that you don't complain anymore. They were totally convinced that whatever money I'll take with my signature, none of them will come back, and I will not press them anymore, because if I press, they will press me to pay back first, because they are not paying. So they were convinced that nothing will come back. I was totally convinced every penny will come back, because in the meantime people were paying me back. So I took a chance and went ahead and started giving money. Now this time money coming from the bank. And I designed some rules and procedure, and it worked. Every penny came back. The more money came, the more money I want to put in. So it expanded. The more it worked, the more reluctant the bank became. See, again, a negative reaction. They should be happy. Now they became unhappy, because they thought it will collapse and they will be out of the whole problem. It didn't collapse. It is flourishing. They thought it's getting so big, this guy, if he wants to give the money, he won't be able to give the money. He doesn't have that money. So they are very reluctant to give you the next loan, even with your signature. I got very agitated again. I said, okay, now I know it works. Why don't I create my own bank? So next phase began. The whole thing began in 1976. Now, within a couple of years, it worked, and then gradually the problem began. I started now campaigning for creating a new bank. So it's a long story, but by 1983, we finally reached that goal. We got the government agreement, government permission to set up the bank. We created the bank and named it Grameen Bank, or Village Bank. And that is the beginning of microcredit and Grameen Bank. The word was coined to describe what we are doing. In the beginning I was saying this is tiny little capital, micro capital. But somehow in English language the popular word became microcredit. And it stayed on microcredit, and later on used microfinance, and that's it. So new word was coined, the word that didn't exist, and continued to function Today, Grameen Bank is a big bank in Bangladesh with 8.5 million borrowers, 97% women, and the bank is owned by the borrowers. So again, it's a very strange thing. It's not owned by rich people like the other banks. It's owned by poor people and poor women. And a massive bank, not just a tiny little bank. The women who are the owners, their representatives sit in the board and make the decisions. It's not other people who do the decisions. And then bank doesn't take any money from outside. When you say microcredit, you always think, oh, somebody has to give them the money. No, they don't take money from anybody. The bank take deposits from this client and use the depositor's money to lend the money to the poor people. That's how it works. Today, we lend out over $1.5 billion in tiny loans. And the repayment is 97%, 98%. We never had problems with repayment. That's how Grameen Microcredit became so popular. And all this money comes from the internally generated funds. So we had never had any shortage of funds because we could create it as a bank. And then we started giving loans to the children of Grameen families so that they can go to higher education. So we have thousands and thousands of young people going to universities, medical schools, engineering schools, and so on. Whereas their parents are totally illiterate. The women who joined Grameen Bank never had the opportunity to go to school. So you have very strange situation in the villages of Grameen families. You meet the mother who has been with Grameen Bank for 20 years or so. She changed her life. She changed her family's situation with 20 years of work with Grameen money. She's very proud of what she has done. And you see a young girl with her as I go and meet her. They look alike, mother and the daughter. Same features, same smile. Then you think young daughter probably helps her in her work, taking care of the cows, taking care of the household. And you start a conversation with the daughters. How is life? What do you do? Said, well, it's good. I never met you before, so I came to see you. I said, where are you? Where do you live? Said, I live in the next town. What do you do? Said, I'm a medical doctor. So that comes as a shock because that's not what you are thinking. You're thinking she's another village girl with her mother. She's a medical doctor. She practices in the nearby town. And she's very happy. Then you look at the mother and the daughter and a thought comes to your mind. Her mother could have been a doctor too. There's nothing wrong with the mother. But she never became a doctor. She never went to school. She's an illiterate woman. She struggled very hard to make a living for her family and raised her daughter, sent her to school, and Grameen Bank gave her the loan. She went to medical school. She is now a doctor. Mother never had that opportunity. So you ask yourself a question again and again. Why poverty? Who creates poverty? After seeing this again and again and again, I come to the same conclusion. Poverty is not created by the poor people. It's not their creation. Poverty is imposed on them. Poverty is created by the system that we have created. We here in this room are the people who are creating the system because we pass on the system from one generation to another generation in the schools, in the universities. The system which generates poverty. And the system is made of the institutions that we built, theoretical framework that we created, and we feel very proud of our theoretical frameworks, concepts that we have designed, and we feel very proud of our concepts. That's where the seed of poverty lies. And they impose the poverty on human beings. And then we talk to them and feel sympathy for them as if they are responsible for their poverty. They are not responsible for their poverty. We change the system, there's no reason why anybody should be poor. There's nothing wrong in the individual person. They're as creative, as enterprising, as fighter as you can think of. But they can't use it. They are totally bound by the rules and procedures of the system. Sometimes I give the example of bonsai. It's a bonsai tree, little tree. You take the best seed of the tallest tree in the forest and put it in a flower pot and let it grow. Will it be as tall as the tree that we saw in the forest? No. It will be this tall. Stop there. It will be a beautiful replica of that tree, but not more than that. And you wonder why we gave the best seed, why didn't it grow? Of course, answer is obvious. We used the best seed, but didn't give enough soil. We gave just a flower pot. With that soil, it can grow only this big. Seed is fine. So I say poor people are just bonsai people. There is nothing wrong with their seed. Simply, society never gave them the base on which to grow tall like everybody else. So that's what is known as poverty. Refusal, rejection created by the system. And I try to give examples where it went wrong from my experience, not that I bring experience from other people. I said, look at the banks. Can you explain to me after all these 37 years of Grameen Bank, why banks don't lend money to the poor people? In the beginning, they were telling me they cannot do it because they are not creditworthy. Some technical word so that you can't come up with something. They are not creditworthy. Now, after 37 years, a global phenomenon of microcredit where everybody says they pay back, their payback record is better than the conventional banks. Now, what do you say now? Why don't you lend money to the poor people? No good answer. In the morning, I was explaining how Grameen Bank lends money to the beggars. Even beggars pay back. And their loan is $12, $15. What they do, they start a business. As they go from house to house to beg, so that somebody gives them some food so that they can eat, or somebody gives some little money so that they can buy some food. That's what their life is. That's what the beggars are supposed to be doing. We said, okay, you go house to house, that's the way you survive. Would you like to carry some merchandise with you as you go from house to house? You go there anyway. This is not extra work for you. All you do, say that, okay, you didn't want to give me something, some food or some money. Would you like to buy something from me? I have some fruits. I have some cookies. I have some toys for the kids. At least have a look at me. And people like it. Children love it. And they started it. In the beginning, we thought there'll be 1,000, 2,000 beggars. it ended up more than 100,000 beggars. And within 3-4 years, we saw more than 25,000 beggars stop begging completely because their sales division was doing so good. They could handle everything with that. And they closed down their begging division. They don't need it anymore. And that's what they did. And others who are about the rest of the 100,000, they are on the way, just gradually doing that. But never forgot to pay back their bank's loan. Why? Did we have a contract with them? Papers? Nothing. We don't have papers. In the entire Grameen Bank, there is no papers between the lender and the borrower. And it's not a tiny money, as I told you, it's more than $1.5 billion with this, without any papers. So banker friends ask me, Professor Yunus, can you sleep at night peacefully, giving all this money without papers? I said, I see that you are losing your sleep because I'm giving the money. I have a very restful sleep because I know they pay back all the time. I never saw it differently, ever. Now we run Grameen program in New York City. There are 6 branches in New York City with 12,000 borrowers, all women. Average loan is $1,500. And the manager of the bank was telling us in the morning, repayment rate is 99.6%. And working since January of 2008. So it's not the other day. So every day they're paying, they're doing very good. Now we are invited to open a branch in Omaha, Nebraska. So we have a branch in Omaha. We have a branch in Los Angeles, a branch in San Francisco, a branch in Indianapolis, a branch in Charlotte, North Carolina, and each one of them exactly the same result. So how do you describe this obstinate attitude and behavior of a bank? No, we cannot do business with you. So we have to find out. That's where the root of poverty. And the same thing, loan sharking is flourishing right here in the United States. Payday lenders, what else can you call them? The interest rate is 100%, 500%, 1,000%, 2,000%. It's a flourishing business. And ask the bankers, why don't they lend the money? They will give you beautiful legal answers. Why can't they do it? So this is one. The other one is, we created a world where, as human beings, we are assigned a one single role. The theory has made that role for us. All we can do in our useful life, either to go into business and make money or work for a business which makes money. Because we are told economic world is run with the incentive of profit. That's the only incentive there is for the human being. The more money you make, the more happy you are. I said, it doesn't go well with me for one simple reason. Human beings are not robots. We are not money-making robots in this world. But the theory has made us into money-making robots. Because there's no role assigned for us in the economic world. Well, they said, well, if you want to do something else, step outside the economic world and become a philanthropist. Give away your money. I said, I would love to do that, but I want to also function as a full human being in the business world too, not as a robot. First of all, human beings are not single-dimensional beings. Human beings are multidimensional beings. Economists took only one dimension and built the whole structure. And I'm very happy that they built it. As a result, money making has become our obsession. It becomes an addiction. We don't know why we make money, but we can't do anything else. It's a money-centric world that we created because of the theory, not because of you want it. I said, yes, money making is an important thing. I'm not undermining the importance of it, but I have other roles to play too. I'm selfish as a human being because selfishness comes from my self-preservation. I want to protect myself. That's my selfishness. At the same time, as a human being, I'm a selfless being. I want to be useful to others. It is built into me, to every human being. But the theory said, forget about the selflessness. Just concentrate on selfishness. If you want to be selfless, go the other way, philanthropy. So give it away. I said, no, I want to do it in the business world. I want to express myself as a selfless person. And I give examples of what I have done, and it matches with that. I created many companies. Every time I see a problem, as I told you in the beginning, that I respond spontaneously without giving much thought. Every time it became a habit with me. Every time I see a problem, and there's plenty of problem, my reaction is to create a business to solve it. And as a result, I have created company after company, more than 60 companies in Bangladesh, and keep adding more companies every other day. I'm very good at making companies. I never stop. But one common feature of these companies is I have never built a company to make 1 penny for myself. So it's always the company to solve problem. I said, how come we can't do this? We can all do this. If a business can solve problem, what are we waiting for? We can all join and do that. Out of many companies, just I'll give one example to illustrate what I have in mind. Bangladesh doesn't have much of electricity. 70% of the people in Bangladesh don't have electricity. So you can imagine 160 million people, 70% no electricity. So when I started realizing that after sunset, everything gets dark, little kerosene lamps started flickering here and flickering there. My thought was electricity is never coming to these villages very soon because Bangladesh doesn't seem like going to afford it very soon. Why don't we take it an advantage of this situation? Why don't we bring renewable energy before the fossil fuel energy comes in? This is our advantage. I thought about it and created a company, called it Grameen Energy or Grameen Shakti, to bring solar energy in the villages. Everybody said, are you crazy? Solar energy should be for the rich people, it's very expensive. Village and solar energy, never happened. I said, I'll try. If I can do that, then people will have electricity of their own. So I created this company, started selling solar home system. Because it has to be, it's a business, it has to be self-supporting system, sustainable system. Selling 3 or 4 solar home system a month was such a big struggle for us. Nobody will believe that, forget it, too expensive. Probably this will work for a few days and will not work, and then all the money is wasted. Nobody could have faith in the new technology. And they said, whoever heard of electricity coming from the sun is fooling us. It will never happen. So all kinds of negative thing goes. We didn't give up. We tried to explain, demonstrate, and so on. So gradually we sold 4 solar home system per month, 10 solar home system per month, 20 solar home system per month. We were feeling happy and confident now. When we reached at the 100 solar home system per month, we thought we conquered the whole world. Now we sell 100 solar home system per month. We built that company 16 years back. Today, we sell more than 1,000 solar home system per day. In last November, we just crossed a million solar home system functioning in Bangladesh to this company. It took us 16 years to set 1 million houses on electricity provided by the solar system. But we are so happy. And we calculated how long will it take to have the next million. All our calculation says it definitely will be less than 3 years because we already built up the speed. So every 3 years, every 2.5 years now, another million will be added. In total, whole of Bangladesh probably has 20 million households. So if you put on 1 million in 2 years or 3 years, Bangladesh will be the first country with the solar home system every home. Possible. Why did I do that? I wanted to make money out of this company? It never occurred to me. People say, you could have made a lot of money. I said, no, this is not what I thought. My focus is on solving the problem of the electricity. So I focused on that and tried to minimize the cost for the people so that they can make it affordable for them. That's a social business, non-dividend company to solve human problems. So we created a lot of these companies after companies. And now that idea is catching up. We are invited to do it in Haiti. So we are creating a series of social businesses in Haiti. And I was just giving this morning example of one social business we are doing in Haiti. It's a joint venture with a Brazilian company, poultry company, chicken company, so that Haiti can produce chicken and eggs. Because today they don't produce it. They import nearly 1 million eggs from Dominican Republic every day. I said, if Dominican Republic can produce their own eggs and send you another 1 million, why can't you produce your own eggs? What is the big trouble there? So we took the initiative to create a social business so that we can produce these eggs and chicken in Haiti. And it creates a lot of employment opportunities, a lot of income opportunities for all the women in Haiti. And our goal for the company, new company that we built in Haiti, is to come to a stage when we'll be exporting eggs to Dominican Republic to get even. It's possible. And I keep saying that you have a free trade agreement with the United States. With free trade agreement, you can sell as much eggs, as many chicken in the United States as you want. All you have to do is to become more efficient than others. So why the economy of the Haiti should be non-functioning economy? It could be a roaring economy. And there are other things we are doing in Haiti. For example, Haiti has lost all its forest. In 1985, there's 25% coverage of Haiti with forest. Whereas Dominican Republic is always green, covered. You fly from Dominican Republic towards Haiti, you see green, you are in Dominican. The moment you see barren, you know you have hit the sky of Haiti. Today, in 2013, there's less than 2% forest coverage left and it will soon disappear. So one of the social business we want to build is to have big forest coverage for the whole of Haiti. And forestry is a very interesting social business. You generate enough income to cover everything. At the same time, benefit the society because your mind is to build that. In most of the forestry business, wherever you go, and Indonesia is a good example, loggers come, cut off the tree, create fume by burning forest, and this is it. Destroying forest is the name of the game of business, not building forest. So we reversed it. We said we'll build it, and forest creates a lot of income for a lot of people. Forest products and so on. So this is another challenge. So now it's being done in Albania, social business. It's done in Colombia. Another company came forward. I'm giving some examples of big companies who came forward. We didn't know about them. They came towards me. and say we would be very interested to do some social business. This company is called McCain Company. I don't know if you're familiar. I was not familiar when they told me our company is McCain, I want to do social business. I said, what do you do? He said, we produce potatoes. I said, how much potato? Where do you do it? This is a Canadian company, by the way. So the guy who was talking to me, CEO, he said, do you like French fries? I said, yes, I love French fries. Then his answer was, if you eat French fry anywhere in the world, most likely you are eating McCain potato. I said, that big? He said, that big. So they want to do social business. So I said, okay, I have a job for you. Let's work in Colombia. So we started a joint venture in Colombia. The reason is Colombian coffee. Does anybody drink Colombian coffee anymore? Heard anything about Colombian coffee? It's dead. Disappeared. Because coffee from Indonesia, coffee from Vietnam became so superior than Colombian coffee and so cheaper than Colombian coffee. Nobody buys Colombian coffee anymore. So people who all their life produced coffee have nothing now left for them. Particularly the province called Caldas in Colombia. It's a kind of dead company. You know, there are company cities in many countries, like in Russia. Huge company city. Now, after Soviet Union collapsed, company cities collapsed because that that freezer doesn't work for anybody because these are most inefficient companies. So the whole company city is a dead city. Similarly, Caldas became a dead province, no activity. So we said, let's go to Colombia, start producing potato. It's a good soil, and everybody can produce potato. And you can buy and have your French fries wherever you want. People have food, because I can't, even if I produce coffee today in Caldas, I can't eat it. It's not a food. It is something to be sold, it's a cash crop. So at least potato people can eat and say happy that we have enough food for ourselves. So anyway, the examples can go on and on and on. Every single problem can be converted into a social business. It's all question of creativity. The last sentence that I want to add to tell you, this is my belief. I believe in the human creative power. I said, if you put all the human creative power on the one side, accumulate everything, all the creative power, and take all the problems of the world on the other side, and let them fight, and tell me who will be the winner. I know who will be the winner, because that's what I believe in. In 100% of the case, it will be human creativity who will be the winner. Meaning they will overcome all the problems we have in the world today, or the problems that we may create in the future. Can be done. Simply, we are not using our creative power to do that. What do we do with our creative power? We use this creative power to do business, to make money. We make money. As a result, the problems keep accumulating because we are not using our creative power to solve that problem. Social business creates this link, creative power to the problem, and start doing that job, and in a very sustainable way. That's the power that we have. We can do that. So once we can start releasing this power into that direction, if we do that in that direction, that doesn't mean you cannot use it for any other purpose. Creativity works in all ways, both ways. So you can make money, at the same time you can solve problems. That's what happened to that big incentive idea, that money is the only incentive. The money is the only, profit is the only incentive in the world. I said the gain theory is wrong. Incentives come in so many different ways, not just money. I asked the question, somebody asked me that question, and I said, okay, suppose I accept it. Why people go on the top of the Everest, tell me? There's a lot of money waiting there, gold bars. Why do they go there? I understand the first time the guy went there, Tenzing and Hillary went up the mountain to go to the Everest, and we applauded them. It's done. But why every year? Hundreds of people go there. Every year, many people die. But still it doesn't stop. Even a crippled person wanted to go up the mountain, and they did. All varieties of human beings went up the mountain. There's a lot of money out there. No. So what is this incentive? So I said, you have to explain that. I said, making money is a happiness. I accept that as an incentive. Of course, it is incentive. But you forget, making other people happy is an incentive too. Making other people happy is a super happiness. That's what it is. So you have to weigh those things. After all, what is the meaning of life? What is the purpose of life? Understand, I make money, lots of money. But ultimately the question is, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? I complain about our education system since I'm standing right here in the middle of university. I said, university is a very good place to teach economics, to mathematics, to physics, to chemistry, whatever subject you have. And we are very good at disseminating all that. But it doesn't tell you, it doesn't have any course to tell you what is the purpose of my life. What am I supposed to be doing on this planet? If I don't know the purpose, what does it do? Mathematics, economics, physics, what does it do? I don't have a direction, I don't have a thing to do. I said, we have to bring the purpose in the front of us. Then everything else will have a meaning. And I don't say there's a ready-made purpose for everybody. No, I have to discover my own purpose. And that should be part of my growing up in the education system. Allow me to think through what is my purpose. I check with my colleagues, my students, my friends, my teachers. It's a continuous process. And in the process, I find something. This is the purpose of my life. Then I pursue that. Today, I get a job. Why do you go to university? To get a good degree. Why do you need a good degree? To get a good job. That's it. You got a good job, it's over. As if life is over with a good job. So these are the things that we have to address ourselves. So when you put together, I see very exciting opportunity to see how to overcome all the problems we have. And the problems that I see is not as complicated as we have been making it out. We are scaring people with the problems. But we get involved with that is a very simple thing. Very human initiative. Just like one little step, that's all. But we got used to thinking in a very complicated way. If you give a simple answer, it can't be right. People always say, oh, you make things so simple. The world is not as simple as that. I said, you are wrong. The world is not as complicated as you think. Because people think in a they enjoy thinking in a complicated way. So we are always making it complicated so that it looks great. Otherwise, it's a very simple thing. It's a very human thing. Just any human being can react to that kind of thing. That's what the world is. So we can create that world where we will not have all these problems. Ultimately, that's where we should be. We create our own world. A world where not a single person will be a poor person. And I keep saying poverty should be in the museum, not in human society. We came to that stage where today it is possible to put poverty in the museum. And we can create a world where not a single person will be unemployed. And people will be asking, unemployment? What is it? What do you mean by unemployment? Why should anybody be unemployed? A creative, active human being, how can he be unemployed? When a creative, active human being remains unemployed, is it his fault or is it her fault? Is there something missing in that person? No. He's as active, as creative as anybody else. Then why is he or she is unemployed? Because of the system. And we have accepted it as if it's a God-given situation. It's not a God-given situation. We created that situation. I said, if a system can trash you by calling you unemployed, Isn't it a good time we trash the system? Why should the system trash us? We have the capacity to trash the system. Say, we create a system where nobody remains unemployed. I even joke with my friends. I said, have you ever heard an animal remaining unemployed? I said, if you find a case of an animal remaining unemployed, probably that animal is owned by a human being. That's the only reason. Otherwise, a human being doesn't remain unemployed. An animal doesn't remain unemployed. I said, how come after all this glory and all this technology, all this knowledge, human beings not only remain unemployed, bulk of the human beings remain unemployed. When there is 50% youth unemployment in Spain, we all talk about it. It's a big news. Or if it goes from 8% unemployment to 9% unemployment, whole politics gets shaken. Unemployment. But in our world, in Bangladesh or a country like that, unemployment is not a news because everybody is unemployed. Employment is the news. Somebody got a job. And that's the reality. And we don't say a word about it as if that's the way it's supposed to be. That's not the way it's supposed to be. We should be expressing ourselves, doing things. Why should I be sitting around? What's the problem? But our rules, our procedures, our structure made such a way, no, sorry, you can't work. I can't let you work. That system has to go. We have to create a new system where that will not arise at all. So this is the direction that you have to go. Once we get it in our head, when we challenge that, it will happen. Because human creativity always conquered all the odds they see in front of them. And that's what the role of the university. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, let's take a few questions.
A few questions, if anybody would like to ask a question.
Shall we try some question?
There's mics.
Yeah, there's microphone, yeah.
Oh, here we go. Go ahead.
How you doing, Dr. Yunus? First of all, I'd like to thank you for coming here and giving such a great speech. What I wanted to know was when you first started your microlending, out of your own pocket, what did the loan sharks do? I mean, I imagine you effectively stole all their business, and I can't imagine they just took that sitting down. Did you ever feel like there were any repercussions?
You see, anything when you begin, you are so small. In the context of the bigger picture, you are not even visible. They didn't even know that what I was doing. It's such a tiny piece because the whole thing is surrounded with loan sharking. So if you give some loans in New York City or even here in New Haven or Hampton, do you think payday lenders will be worried about it? No. They don't even realize that you exist because their business is still fresh. By the time you grow big and they get worried, you are already too big. So that's the way it went. It went that way. But continuously there was a battle, slow battle building it up. And one of the way the battle expressed itself, lots of rumors spread against Grameen Bank and everything. They made all kinds of things. They said we lend money to women because we are trying to popularize birth control. So if you are poor, if you're a woman, why you give loans to women? Because you have some inner motive. You want to make them adopt family planning. That's why, because there are too many people in Bangladesh. So this is one way they can catch women and give all this. Or they say, this is Christian missionaries who give the money. So these are all Christian missionaries. They will convert into a Christian. So watch out. So all these terrifying stories will go on. This is part of that rumors which will scare you off so that they can do their business peacefully. This is how to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Perhaps you're familiar with Bill McKibben and his 350.org organization. And then also consider that he has been very outspoken about the Keystone Pipeline in the United States and the extraction of the Canadian tar sands. And President Obama, of course, has a big challenge before him about making a decision. And there's a sense of urgency on both sides because there is the consumption, the daily consumption and need for energy in the United States and for export as well. At the same time, coming from Robert Hansen, the NASA scientist who first raised concerns about global warming, and then Bill McKibben, that if the tar sands are extracted, we pass this tipping point. And it seems that, yes, there could be solutions, but they're not, to make a pun, in the pipeline yet to really solve this problem. So how do you feel this could be addressed? And no doubt there's a great deal of creativity that could be leveraged.
Well, I come from Bangladesh. We are the frontline country. When the global warming and all those climate change issues flare up, we are the one who will disappear. Sea level is rising, and we can measure it. In Bangladesh, we see the scientists have been measuring it, 4 millimeters per year. And Bangladesh is a flat country. Almost 1/4 of Bangladesh is maximum of 1 meter above the sea level. So there's lots of place with 1/2 meter and 1/4 of a meter. So the water and land kind of blend together in Bangladesh. It's a very tightly packed country, 160 million people living in that land. So now we will be creating people are moving from the south, which is more close to the sea level, towards north in the cities and so on. Soon they will be spilling over to other countries, what we call the climate refugees. So we are the threatened species. So we understand what it means, what needs to be done. And all we plead to the world, that please look at your lifestyle. And all we have to do is to make a decision and teach it in every school, every class, or any institution, educational institution, to make a decision by each single person on this planet that will make sure that our planet will be safer tomorrow than it is today. And then we hand over the planet as a safer planet than we found it. If we accept that principle, our lifestyle has to go through changes. Like all the products that we use, everything that any service or any product, will have a kind of color coding, whether it is threatening to the planet, or is it friendly to the planet, or is it neutral, as if green, yellow, and red kind of thing. So if I go to any store, I'll be look for which is green, so that I'm not harming the world. And they'll be color coded, like the Surgeon General says that this is harmful to your health. Similarly, every product should carry that message, is harmful to the planet, that you will be harming it. So I will not use it. So it's my personal decision. If we do that, we'll create the technology, a proper technology, so that I can create more green products than I produce great products, so that together we make this planet safer as we go along. So ultimately it is that level, not one single decision and will change everything. It will not. Because unless we change ourselves, the planet is moving in that direction. Today, the way it is, every day it is becoming more dangerous than yesterday. And we are handing over a more dangerous planet to our next generation than we found it. And we expect our children to make it still more dangerous to the next generation. Whether it is tomorrow, the tipping point, or a day after tomorrow, it is there coming. So we have to be aware of that. Thank you. One more question, then we stop. Thank you.
Hi, Professor Yunus. Thank you so much for coming to Quinnipiac, and it was a pleasure to meet you earlier today. You may have answered this question in one of the sessions today, but I have a sort of a technical banking question. How does the Grameen Bank determine interest rates depending on the country they're located or the person they're lending to or the day of the week?
Our main purpose in fixing the interest rate so that we don't run into red, so we remain afloat. After all, this is a bank which is owned by poor women. We don't want to run a bank which turns red and ruin their life. So we want to be very safe. So that's safety level that we want to ensure. Our cost of fund in Grameen Bank is around 10%. And then we lend money at 20% interest rate. Simple interest rate. Conventional banks in Bangladesh, interest rate is 16%, 17%. So we are not too far from the conventional interest rate. And then conventional bank interest rate is compounded quarterly, which means there will be more than 17%. But we are a simple interest rate. We never charge interest on interest. And on top of it, if somebody is delayed in payment, always the rule is the total interest of any Grameen Bank loan, no matter how long it takes to be paid back, cannot be higher than the principal that they borrowed. So if you pay back your loan in 10 years' time, still the total interest cannot exceed your principal. So there's another limit. So this is it. Then this is the highest interest rate, 20%. Then we have a housing loan interest, which is 8%. Our cost of fund is 10%, which lend money at 8%, cross-subsidized. And we lend money to our education loan, which is 5%, which is way below the cost of fund. We lend money to the beggars, that is 0 interest rate. We don't charge interest to them. So if you take the combined weighted average of that, it will be much less than 20%. So this is how we do it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.